Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. So this reading has been sat on my desk for a few days now, and I've been really frustrated because I couldn't record it. I couldn't turn my phone on to be able to record it because I think because of the hot weather maybe my phone was overheating, but the screen wouldn't go on. So I believe in divine timing. I believe that everything happens for a reason. And then the funny thing is, the card to tell me who it's for is a Capricorn card. And Queen of Pentacles is Capricorn energy. It doesn't have to be Capricorn. Anyone can be in Queen of Pentacles energy, but the energy of it is Cappy, right? And it's so funny that this morning on the 13th, I sat down, turned my camera on, and it worked. And today is the full moon in Capricorn. So it almost feels like this is destined to go up today, which makes me feel like it should be a collective reading. And it may be a collective reading. It may be talking very metaphorically, but there's a very specific message that's coming through, and it feels like a very individual, very specific message. So if it's not the specific thing that's coming through for you, try and adapt it as a metaphor to where in your life does this kind of storyline fit. And if it doesn't fit at all, if it's not resonating, then it's just not your reading, right? So Queen of Pentacles energy, this it could be a female, it could be a mother, it could be a wife, it could be a boss. It doesn't have to be any of those things. It's somebody who, it doesn't have to be female either, gender is very fluid in my tarot, just to kind of say. This specific Queen of Pentacles, now the deck that I'm using to say who is the reading for at the moment is this massive deck of four different decks, so 4 different types of card, right? 4 different types of image, with all the character cards from those 4 decks all mixed in together. So depending on which Queen of Pentacles comes out, the image is also going to give me additional details. This specific Queen of Pentacles is, she always talks to me about somebody who had to be very, very responsible at a very young age. So it's kind of like the kind of person who would have got married early or had children early, or had to it kind of speaks to me about my life as well, because I didn't go to college. I got a full-time job and I was renting a house at full market rental value at 18. So I've always had to kind of stand on my own 2 feet from a really young age, and to have that kind of like self-resourcefulness, and worked really, really hard as well in my 20s, when a lot of 20-year-olds are out partying, right? And I was working a full-time job and working overnight and shifting things around, and you know, really didn't have a lot of money, because you know, you don't get paid that much when you're that age either. So most of my money was going to like rent and food and things like that. I didn't have, you know, much. So yeah, a lot of hard work for not a lot to show for it at that time. And of course, renting is just throwing your money down the drain, really. So yeah, it does talk to me about somebody who perhaps had a lot of responsibilities too young. It's kind of like that first child energy as well, like the oldest child looking after the younger siblings. So somebody who's really responsible, you know, working hard on the practical side of life, building up skills as well. Perhaps it could also be somebody who went to university, but you know, they were very focused on building the skills, on getting the good grades, rather than kind of the party lifestyle. So yeah, I do feel like this queen, she tends to look after others as well. She tends to have others that depend on her, others that she's nurturing. So yeah, all that kind of stuff. She's got a little dog by her side. Maybe this is a signifier for somebody. And she's a very, very green Queen of Pentacles. She's very connected to the earth, to nature, to the trees, to the cycles of life as well. She understands this, there's like a time and a place for everything. So that's who this is. If that sounds like you, this could be your reading. Now, before I continue, I'm going to go on to a huge trigger warning for animals, hunting, and taxidermy. So if those things are going to bother you, then I still feel like it could be your reading if this is a very specific message, because it has that feeling of like a suppressed memory, or something that really had a huge, profound impact on you in childhood because it upset you so much, if this is your specific reading. But and sometimes when we suppress things, it can cause problems for us, right? It's like stuff that we need to get up and, you know, process and deal with, and that can be painful and hard, but it's like it has to come out. So it has that kind of feel to it. But again, I don't want to, again, there's a time and a place, right? So there you go. That's your trigger warning that this is coming through in the cards, and I'm going to talk about it and we're going to go through it. So this deer, so it's very specifically a deer is the way it's coming through, because we have it here, here, and here, right? Or a doe or something. But this deer with these massive antlers is coming through to me as a mounted deer, right? Can you see here it's not got a body, it's just the head. And here as well, it kind of looks like the head of a deer mounted on the wall. Now this was really, really, really confirmed to me because I've been playing around with this deck kind of personally off camera. And when I had done this reading and I went to grab my deck for my own personal use, this Emperor kept showing himself, and look at the background of it. So this idea of the hunter, and the trophy, right? So it could also be, I mean, the Queen of Wands is there as well. I'll talk about a trophy, right? So that's very bad taste, but you know what I'm saying. It's like, if it's not hunting animals, it could be a metaphor for somebody who likes to count the notches on the bedpost, you know, likes to see who they can get with, you know, that kind of hunter. But gross, right? Very low vibrational behavior. They will get their comeuppance if they're acting in a low vibrational predatory way. It's just how karma works. It's just how the world works. Eventually they'll fall, because they do. So what do we have here? So it's got to me this energy of maybe even like being out in a walk in the woods. The first card in your reading, it's the same energy, right? Look, she's got this green dress on, she's got the hair and everything. It's almost like, if I just look at the picture, it's like this person who draws power from the earth. They draw power from perhaps their ancestry, because the roots of the tree always talk about their ancestry to me, about what nourishes you, what supports you. Are you clinging to firm foundations, right? Is the place that is the place where you're raising yourself, or you have been raised, a nurturing environment? What has been fed into you from your external environment, from the place where you grew up, right? From your parents. But it's also drawing power from the place. Now, again, there's this thing about the two branches, right? So it could be two branches of the family tree, just how it keeps coming through in lots of different readings, just how the head has two sets of antlers. It could be the two different mindsets of the two families that you have originated from, right? So it's like your maternal family tree and your paternal family tree may have had different advice that they've given you, or different support that they've given you. If that's the case, I want to say, it could be that one side of the family was more wealthy than the other, perhaps, because the way that the pentacles are spread out on this specific card, which is the Six of Pentacles, Six of Earth is Six of Pentacles, it's like people who are in a position to give and people who are in a position to receive, and making it fair. So it could be that, you know, financially you've got more money from one side of the family than the other, but I don't know, it could be something like that. So yeah, this is your power, this is your energy, this is what you've been fed, right? This is what's nurtured you. But at the same time, and it could be talking about somebody, again, she's very connected to nature, somebody who goes out for walks and it replenishes the battery, it replenishes their energy, right? It gives them a power boost, because they draw power from being amongst the trees, being amongst the animals, that kind of earth sign, grounded energy. But it says fire spirit. Now, it's so curious to me that it should be so green and earthy, and yet it's called fire spirit. It's interesting that we saw that Queen of Wands there in this deck as well. So it could be somebody with strong fire placements, maybe somebody who's, I don't know, Capricorn, sun sign, but they have a lot of fire in the chart. I don't know, see how that works for you. But it could be also talking about your Mars placement. Now, I'm not quite sure where Mars is in the sky at the moment, but it may just be worth kind of looking at what Mars is doing in your birth chart if you're interested in that. But fire energy, because it's talking to me about something being ignited inside you, something something that makes you very passionate. And now that could come through as being very angry, right? Seeing something happening and it making you angry, or seeing something happening and being like, I have a lust for life with this. This is my passion. This is what I'm meant to be doing. Now, mostly it's coming through with something that makes you angry, right? Something that you see and it's like, oh, you're doing like, especially here, like that. You know, it ignites that fury inside you. It ignites that Mars energy to make you take action, to make you do something. So again, it's kind of like being out in the woods and witnessing something, because we've got all this witnessing. So here, again, with the soul, right? So what ignites your soul? What gives your soul energy? What makes you passionate? And with this being like an eye, again, it's this thing about witnessing something, stumbling upon something, witnessing something, and it provoking a very emotional response in you, making you cry. And it could be something environmental, right? It could be something about nature, about the earth. So maybe this is kind of a bit like eco-warrior energy. You know, you see, I don't know, the forest where you used to walk is getting knocked down by people who want to build houses, right? But you've got loads of houses, but you've not got much woodland. And it's like, well, people need this space. We need this space to walk our dogs. We need this space to connect with nature, and it's good for the environment. What about the bees? What about the butterflies if this area is devoid of trees? So it could be something, again, that you get very angry about, and it provokes this response. Now, I want to say that whatever this is, it's got a turning away energy. So witnessing something that is so over emotional or overwhelming, it lights such a fire inside of you that you turn away. It's like your heart breaks, right? Your heart breaks and you turn away, is the way that this is coming through, because this is the 3 of air, which is heartbreak. You know, it's like it impacts your soul, or impacts you on a soul level. It breaks your heart, it breaks your soul, to witness this thing. And it could be something that's so tragic, right? So tragic, so unfair, so you feel so helpless. I want to say you feel so helpless, so angry, so helpless, that it's like, what do you do with all that energy except for turn your head away? But there's something about being witnessed and being seen. Now, it could be that the universe has witnessed this. The universe has seen this, right? God has seen this. Now, I watched a lecture on YouTube. It just came up on my feed yesterday, and I do think as well, like, sometimes if a reading gets delayed, it's because there's more information coming from other sources that I need to be able to deliver the reading effectively. And this, I'll link it in the description box down below, but this lecture was by a psychologist, I think it was, or psychotherapist, and he was talking about self-hatred, and how guilt plays a huge role in self-hatred, and how people have these defenses up around that. So anything that you feel guilty about, it's something about, I'm sorry, I'm not describing it well, but do go and watch the lecture. It's a very interesting lecture, especially if you're dealing with that kind of thing, or you're dealing with somebody who has, you know, a lot of guilt and self-hatred, and it's kind of the root of the problems. Again, this thing about the roots, right? The root of your problems. So it's this thing about, basically, guilt has this kind of tribal function. It's you know, there's nothing good or bad but think it makes it so kind of thing. It's a tool that we have as human beings. So if you think about like the tribe of like history, you know, if we were like caveman or something, and we had, you know, we would have been probably very, very dependent on our social group, on our family, on staying together, because you didn't want to wander out in the woods on your own, because there was, like, I don't know, saber-toothed tigers and things out there, right? So dinosaurs, I know we weren't around at the same time as dinosaurs, but you get the analogy. So it's like, guilt is basically, if somebody in that tribe does something that doesn't follow the social rules, the rest of the tribe turn away from them, right? They turn their heads away, they turn their backs on them, and this provokes the sense of guilt in the person who's done the wrong thing. I'm going to say wrong thing because I think rules are constantly changing, and you need the rule breakers to modify things, right? You need people who are willing to stand out on their own and do something that's against the rules in order to change the rules for the better of everybody. So there's lots of functions we're talking about here. But this thing about the people turning away, turning their backs on somebody, again, it's like witnessing something and turning the back on you. Or you turning your back on them, right? This is something that I can't tolerate. The guy in the reading, the lecturer was talking about how we do this to ourselves as well. If there's something within us that we feel an incredible amount of guilt over, an incredible amount of shame over, it's like we feel like we've done something wrong. And this can come through in many different ways. I think especially what's been coming up this week is victims of sexual abuse, you know, at a young age. There's a huge amount of shame because it's like you've done the wrong thing, right? You've allowed people to touch you in inappropriate ways, especially if you grow up in a particularly religious environment. There's a huge amount of shame to do with sex. So as a victim of abuse, there's this thing about I did the wrong thing, I allowed this to happen to me, I went along with it, or whatever that is. And yet, if you were underage, you were the victim, right? And they were the perpetrator, because you know, this is evidence-based, scientific-based, that you don't have the capacity to understand what's happened to you properly as an adult would. This is why it's illegal. This is why it's underage, because you don't have the toolbox. You don't have the wiring in your brain, the life experience to understand the situation clearly. And that's why it's predatory, and that's why it's illegal, and that's why, you know, it's somebody taking advantage of another, because you don't have the emotional toolbox to cope with what has happened, which is why it has such a profound impact on people, right? It's like, it's why it damages you. It's why it causes all these feelings that are so hard to cope with, and this incredible amount of shame, because you were innocent in that situation. Because, do you see what I mean? It's like, if you knew what you were doing fully, if you had a full adult toolbox of skills, it wouldn't have had such a damaging impact. Does that make any sense? So especially, I want to say, this kind of shame to do with the body and things like that. So what am I trying to get to here? Sorry, it's just a lot of stuff has come up in between pulling the cards and actually doing the reading. So yeah, this psychologist was saying this thing about the shame. It's probably one of the things that's most damaging he's found to people when he's been trying to help them in therapy. It's like this sense of shame and this sense of guilt, and not only others turning away from you and not being able to look at it, but also not being able to look at this within yourself, right? Turning your face away from the pain, turning your face away from what happened, pushing it down and denying it and defending that denial. So he was saying a lot of the times he tries to access the pain, access the guilt, and get the people to talk about it, and they'll come incredibly defensive, right? Because you've touched that sore spot. So it's this thing about not looking at it, but being witnessed, having the worst of you, right? Having the things that you're most guilty about witnessed by somebody else and accepted, and not having that person push you away is incredibly profound in terms of recovery from, you know, issues of self-hatred. So how do we do this? This is what I've been wondering this week myself, like, how do we do this, especially for young people who have gone through traumatic experiences? How do we alleviate that sense of shame? By seeing them, by giving them the Pisces energy, right? The unconditional love, forgiveness, apologies, forgiving yourself, accepting that we're not perfect, accepting that we're human, accepting that some things are hard, and witnessing ourselves and allowing the universe to witness us. The universe does witness us. You can't hide anything from the universe. They will tell all your secrets. So something like this. So witnessing something, turning away from it because it's so hurtful. Now here's that, then we go into choices and the consequences as well, which is interesting. Walking straight into the consequences of this choice to turn away. Now this is a lesson, right? Whatever we decide to do, it's a lesson. This is teachability, the hollow bone. However, there's something as well about Again, Capricorns, you've had this, right, caps, just to talk to my Capricorns personally for a second. What is it with this deer with you? This deer comes out so often in your readings. Do you all remember? I don't know how long all of you have been around, but do you remember this set of readings for like months? And I kept on pulling out that card for you. Every time I thought about Capricorn energy, I would get that card. And it says take the lead on it. And I was like, what is it with this deer? What is it with this take the lead energy? It showed up every single time for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And then it's like back again. And it's coming through now like a Patronus for you. Like this spirit guide for you. So it's... oh, what is this? So that's one, Capricorns. What is it with this deer? Somebody tell me. Two, it's a couple of weeks ago I did this Capricorn reading about the tree being split in half, right? It could be family tree or something like this, or something that you're doing with gardening or assets or something. And it's coming through again, this idea of like the root system of the tree and removing the branches of the tree. So here it's got like, you see here, she's actually a tree stump here. And here it's like, this is also talking to me about the tree stump. And then like the head, right? Or the upper torso. And then here you've got this, the stump of the tree here as well, with the top half removed is the way it's looking to me. So, okay, trigger warning, we're going into it now. So this is coming through this message of removing the head. Right, and this is another thing as well. When I did that reading about the tree being, the dream thief reading, I mean, if you remember that, taking the top of the tree, it was, I actually channeled, and it was in my notes, and I don't think I said it in the reading. I channeled cutting it off at the head is what I channeled. Cutting something off at the head, or cutting this thing off at the head. And I don't think I said it in the reading. And then it's back again. So it's just fascinating to me how the same messages replay like this. So cutting it off at the head. So a very specific message is coming through for me of being in the woods, witnessing perhaps a hunting party, even perhaps being part of a hunting party. You know, being maybe about 12 or something, and being part of this hunting party with like your dad and your uncle, and like going out and being like, and they're like, you know, you're going to be a man, and shooting a deer, right? And perhaps you pulled the shot, perhaps someone else pulled the shot, but it's like, it's almost like it's caused PTSD, because I want to say that this person who I'm connecting with, and again, it's like the child, right? This Pisces child energy, like the child inside, who perhaps loves animals, who perhaps, you know, sees the soul in animals, understands that all animals have a soul. And to witness the death of this magnificent creature, I think has had a very, again, this is like where it goes really personal, I think has had a huge, profound impact on this person. Again, maybe like, I don't know, bullet hole in the head or something. But then it's like it's haunted. The person's almost haunted by this, because not only has it been this moment of witnessing the death, you know, like a profound, close PTSD moment of witness, even maybe causing the death of this creature, and it having a perhaps a huge sense of guilt, a huge sense of, there's just this real sense of disquiet with it. Now there's something with the eyes again about this thing about being witnessed, right? Not only, so it feels almost like perhaps as this creature died, or as this, in this moment, right, where perhaps the trigger was pulled, it's like making eye contact with this creature, and your soul's connecting is the way it's coming through. It's like they see you and you see them, and there's this, oh, I don't know if it's like an understanding or a moment of recognition. It's coming through strongly with the story of Diana and Akateon as well. So Akateon really wants the dogs to understand that who he is, but he's been turned into a deer and they don't recognize him. But here it's like this moment of recognition. And then I want to say this deer, so not only perhaps witnessing the, I'm sorry, it's incredibly graphic, but it's coming through so strongly. It's somebody's story and I need to tell it, right? There's a reason why these cards have come out. So it's like witnessing then perhaps the harvesting of the venison from this creature, you know, the body, the chopping off of the head, and then having this sent to a taxidermist or something and having it mounted on the wall. And it's like every time you go to that place, you know, this deer that you witnessed the death of is still there up on the wall looking at you with its like marble eyes, is the way it's coming through, right? Because it's like the eyes are removed here, and then it's got, do you see, like the eye almost looks like a human eye? Do you see what I mean? It's like it's watching you. So this glass eye, like watching you as you move all around the room and feeling like it's got a soul. Like feeling like it's still there, like the ghost of this animal is the way it's coming through with stag spirit and leadership. But it is coming through like, it is coming through with whoever I'm reading for, whoever is coming through with this witnessing energy, whoever felt like they had to turn away from this, whoever was like, this is wrong. It's like there's a soul bond here. There's a soul bond with the stag, with the spirit of the stag. Like it's the Patronus, right? It's like the child and the stag are connected in some sort of way. So it could be even like you see this in your dreams. You know, when you're out in the woods, you think you see the stag out of the corner of your eye. It's like it's not haunting you, but it's like the spirit of this, or the soul of this stag is connected to you, right? It's still there. Kind of makes me think as well about Dr. Sleep. There's a story in, I won't spoil it, but if you watch Dr. Sleep, at one point someone does tell a story about hunting a stag. It's really, really fascinating because it's like this person is more bonded with the stag, right? They feel a closer relationship with nature, with the animals, than with the hunting party, right? So we have then this feeling of enduring this. So it's like there's something that has affected somebody, I want to say profoundly, on a deep emotional level, right? At a soul level, because we have the soul here in the underlying here as well. We have like the Page of Cups with the Fool, which is like a child, right? And then here we have this kind of the King of Cups, deep water, deep feelings, deep emotions, and then the Queen of Pentacles again. So it's like with these two cards, I'm kind of seeing like a maturing of the emotions, right? Aging up and not like kind of coming to terms with it, right? Through endurance. So it's kind of got again like this thing about like covering the mouth, not speaking about something but witnessing it. So this huge thing about the eyes, right? The witness. Seeing something but not saying it. And the curse card does talk about kind of like ancestral, not curses in terms of, I don't think anyone's cursed, right? I don't believe in curses. I think curses only affect you if you believe in them. So if you just don't believe in them, you know, if you just cleanse that energy, it's not going to touch you. It's because it's basically anything low vibrational like a curse is weaker than the vibration of the sun energy, which is pure unconditional love energy. If you can tap into that brilliant white light creator energy, if you think about if you shine a light in the shadows go, right? They're weaker. They only exist when the light turns away. So again, this thing about it's really important not to turn away from these things, but to look at them and witness them, because in witnessing them, you disempower them and you are the stronger one. Do you see what I'm saying there? So if you work with that white light energy, nothing can really touch you. Not on a soul level. So this concept of being cursed, I think, is possibly being there's some work being done with this. Now, again, it does talk about ancestry, things that have been passed down to you, traditions. It can talk about DNA and things like this as well, like what has been inherited. And this can be like thoughts, beliefs, patterns of behavior, addictions, you know, whatever has been passed down to you. And bearing this on your shoulders, right? And enduring this. And yet being in a position, I want to say for a lot of you Cappies, because I really feel this stepping up in your life, and I feel like it's ongoing. I feel like it's a struggle. I feel like it's something you're learning. I think it's something you're coming to terms with. I think it's something that you are grappling with, and it's trial and error, right? Because endurance is like the 9 of Wands, and you don't become the Emperor if you don't have the trial and error. So Caps, what I'm seeing is that you perhaps have been part of things that have been teaching moments, right? And you're learning lessons about who you are, right? And whether or not you share the same values as the people who came before, or the people who are around you in some sort of way. And I want to say that you're finding something out where, I want to say you are the tree in this reading. You are the tree that has been separated from the roots. Or you're recognizing that there is something wrong with the connection between you and what should be a nurturing environment, right? Because your roots should be drawing from these, like I'm seeing like nourishing earth, right? Earth with lots of minerals and nutrients in. And yet here we have this rock and endurance. So can you see here with the roots of the tree, like the tree is strong, the roots are strong, the roots are reaching for the nutrients that they need from the ancestry, because roots are ancestry to me. And yet there's no nutrients there, there's no earth there. So this tree somehow, and I want to say it's you, right, Caps? I want to say somehow you, despite all odds, right, despite a lack of a nurturing environment or a separation. Maybe some of you have even like been in the care system or something, or perhaps you've lost parents at a young age, something like this. But it's like this complete removal of you from the situation to a different situation where you've really had to grow despite all the odds, right? You've really had to endure. You've really had to provide for yourself, and build yourself up despite the environment not being conducive to you doing that. Somehow, despite all odds, you've done this, or you're doing this. But again, it's this thing about, it came through in your last reading. Do you see this bubble here, right? Because this is the future. The branches are the future, reaching for the stars, right? Reaching for the possibilities. So it's, again, like this is the stump, and this is the head of the tree. So this thing about like the removal of the head of the tree to this other place. Now here it's coming through with a magician trick. So I don't know if some of you are magicians. Perhaps there's something about, you know, like the magic circle. You don't tell people how to do the tricks. It's like a very secret society kind of thing. So it's coming through with a disappearing act. You know, do you remember when I can't remember which magician it was, but somebody made the Statue of Liberty move. Yeah, so it's like the removal of something to another place. It's coming through like a magic trick. And also the swords are looking like, you know, when people go into a box and you put the swords in and they come out of the box and you're like, haha, they're fine. Or that's the trick, right? So they go into the box, people put the swords in, and then you open the door and it's like, oh, they're not there. They're over there. They're on the stage, you know. It's like they're in the audience. It's like, do you see what I mean? It's like as these swords are going in, it's like, surprise, I'm over here, something like that. What else as well? So like cutting the lady in half as well is the third magic trick that's coming through, again with this idea of like, you know, like the base of the tree and the top of the woman, and then the separation of the head and the body, or the upper torso and lower torso. It's like, you know, like when the lady's in the box and they open the box and her feet still wriggle, you know, that kind of thing. So yeah, magic tricks, magicians is coming through for somebody. Okay, so then we have leadership. So I want to say that the Queen of Pentacles, and again, doesn't matter if you're she, he, they, is stepping up into a leadership position. So perhaps the Emperor was the leader, right? This Emperor, this hunter Emperor who is coming through as really being quite ruthless and really quite controlling, especially if they've got Scorpio placements. It could be quite... You may disagree with how that person did things, and you may want to do something, if you're stepping into a leadership position, in a way that feels instead of feeling like a competitive environment, perhaps where people are pitted against each other and, you know, everybody's got to be the hunter, you're doing it in a more supportive way, in a more Empress way, where you're creating a sanctuary for people, where you're creating a place where people can feel safe. And it could also be perhaps survivors of a situation, right? You're starting an organization where people can go and feel safe if they're coming from an environment where people were perhaps very hunter energy. Because what we also have under here is the Empress. So after this child energy, right, whatever this is, Pisces, Aries, we have the Empress, Libra, Taurus energy. But today I want to say it's coming through this energy of the maturing queen. So the Queen of Pentacles, perhaps tapping into, basically the Emperor and the Empress in the upright, in the positive, should be all four queens or all four kings of the tarot. So the Empress being all four queens, it's like, this is the base, this is who you are, this wonderful energy that is connected with nature, sympathetic to animals, nurturing, supportive, abundant, really good at self-care, caring for the self, caring for others, all that kind of stuff that comes with the Queen of Pentacles. Skilled, knowledgeable, practical from a very young age. But to become the Empress, you need to activate the other queens. And here we have that fire energy, right? And over here we saw the Queen of Wands. So activating the Queen of Wands energy, which is like your confidence, your charisma, your creativity, your passion, right? Again, the passion of the soul. Again, maybe look at your different placements, because you could have a really strong and important fire placement, specifically Sagittarius. I've got Sagittarius Mars, so I mean the Capricorn Lilith, so I'm not as good at this. But also Capricorn South Node, so conversely really good at it, but also not good at it. Really good at it, but right. What's coming through now, what I'm waffling on about now and trying to get across to you is really look at your Lilith placement. My Lilith placement is Capricorn, and Lilith is a place in your birth chart where you carry a lot of guilt. So a lot of my guilt comes from anything that Capricorn is good at. So getting paid for a job well done. You know, if I get paid a decent wage, I feel guilty about it. I've got this weird thing where I think I should work for free. Like, I don't know, like earning money seems incredibly tacky to me. So it's like having to rethink that, having to rewire my brain and understand where my guilt comes from, and understanding my Lilith placement. It's like imposter syndrome as well, right? Never really feeling like, because Capricorns are brilliant. I love Capricorns. Like I see my Capricorn friends like on social media and stuff, and they will sing their own praises. They will go in doing that elevator pitch when nobody asked for it, and it's like like Capricorns are like, I know I worked hard to gain these skills and I want to be paid for it. Like Capricorn energy by itself. And it's like, you're teaching me a lesson, Capricorns. Teaching me a lesson. So I do feel like I've got the Queen of Pentacles side down to an extent. Being my South Node, it's like your comfort zone. So I think I'm a good mum, right? I think I'm a nurturing. I was a teaching assistant. I was going to do teacher training. I think I'm good at the nurturing side. You know, and you know, talking about gaining new skills, I've got a degree, right? I went out and got my degree because I had the drive to do that. So I do have this Capricorn energy, and yet it's my Lilith. So at the same time, all this guilt and self-doubt and like not wanting to, like, the thought of doing it in an elevator pitch is like torture to me. It's like seeing myself in third person and seeing myself as this clown. It's the way it's coming through. But then again, I pulled on that Capricorn energy to really do my research for the job interview, for doing the for getting onto a master's course, basically a master's level course in teacher training, and I got it. You know, I nailed that interview. I knew what I was talking about, and I Capricorn the shit out of that, and and then the pride of that. So when you understand where your Lilith placements are, your South Node, your North Node, when you understand why you sabotage yourself in certain things, why you carry guilt, you can start to unravel it. Then you can start to work on those things and understand that it's not real, it's just something that we have to develop. So go and look at your Lilith placement, and your South Node and North Node, I think is the message coming through here, and really master those things that you feel like you're not good at. So Queen of Pentacles into the Empress, activating the Queen of Wands energy and coming into this very passionate and confident leader who knows her stuff, who knows her skills, right? I love how they've both got this little animal by the side as well. and being like, we're doing it in a different way. We're nurturing here. We're witnessing, we're nurturing, and when people do something wrong, we're not turning our backs on them. We're pulling them closer, and we're giving them love, and we're giving them the time, the space, the nurture, the love, the education, the resources that they need to heal themselves at a soul level and feel like they have a home and feel like they have a place and feel like they have a sanctuary. Right, so it's really gorgeous, this reading. I'm really glad that I was able to do it today because I've been itching to do it. So yeah, it's talking to me about this, kind of talks to me about it takes time, but it's also talking to me about medicine. So it's like, this is the medicine, this place of sanctuary, this has the medicine for the soul. And again, it's a good thing sometimes I get a bit of a delay between readings, because I went away and I realized I was falling asleep and I was like, oh my god, these are all animals that are hunted, right? So the stag, animal that's hunted, rabbits, foxes, and even bears, like when it's hunting season, all these animals can get hunted, but here's the place of sanctuary. So that's the reading, guys. That's the reading. Now, confession. I know this story. And it actually came through months and months and months ago in a meditation, and I felt like at the time I knew who it was for, and it came through very much like the story of Akateon and Diana, except for this person had hunted this deer, they had killed this stag, and I was witnessing it. I was like, almost like I'd projected into this place, like this clearing in the woods with this deer that had been killed. And I connected very deeply with this deer, but also with the person who'd done it. And again, relieving, I did some work in that meditation to relieve the shame of this, to accept what had happened and understand that, again, this person was carrying this around with them. They were carrying it around on a soul level. It wasn't something that they were proud of, I felt. It's something that they had a huge, my heart just absolutely pounded. That happened the other night as well when I was thinking about this. There was regret and shame about it, and a huge sense of guilt that they'd done this. And it was in the meditation, it was like the deer knew this, the stag knew this, right? And forgave the person, right? It was almost like this was a lesson. This was something that had to happen. It was almost like a fixed point where this person had this soul lesson to learn. Because I don't know if it's some kind of chain of events or something that they had to process and learn, but it came through with like the forgiveness. And this, like I say, this creature bonded with this person at this soul level and became like a patronus for them. It was like they are now this spirit guide of the forest for you, right? They are, I don't know, do you know, have you ever heard of certain cultures saying when you kill an animal, when you take a life, you take on aspects of that life, you take aspects of that animal. So it's almost like the two souls are bonded now, or something like that is the way it's coming through. But it's because, I don't know, it's this thing about witnessing, and the act of witnessing, the act of not turning away, breaking the curse, right? Which again, we end with sanctuary. So very, very interesting reading. And do go and watch that. If this is, I don't know, at all interesting to you, go and watch the lecture, which I'll try and remember to link in the description box below. It's by something like Owl TV or something, and it was a lecture on self-hatred. Yeah, feels like an important reading. Again, it could be collective. Yeah, okay. What do I want to do here? Let's get... No. Okay, I was going to go to this deck, but they're showing me the Akashic Tarot. Let's get a little bit of advice from the Akashic Tarot. And then we'll get some songs and then we'll wrap up. That card really looks like... No, it's gone back in. There was a card that really looked like it was trying to come out and then it went back in. Summer and winter in reverse and the sands of time. Okay. When this card is reversed, I'm going to show it in the upright, but it was reversed. When this card is reversed, oh, actually, it flips, doesn't it? There we go. The winter shows snow-covered trees in a still landscape. It tells you that you are in a yin cycle, again, Empress energy, not Emperor energy, a time of receptivity, going inwards and taking stock. This phase may call for you to be less active in the world. However, it is a quiet energy that pays off later. This passive, receptive state is a good time to meditate, to connect with spirit, and especially to make future plans. The winter cycle is often filled with inner activity mixed with peaceful retreat. Your external life may require some sort of action. Be sure to undertake it with focus and inner peace. Inner peace, right? You don't get to the inner peace if you don't do the work. You know, you've got to look at those things. You've got to look at those painful experiences. Remember to relax and regroup. Let yourself make plans for the beginnings that are to come with the spring while yielding to the receptive energy of the time. I do think there's something about being your own witness, right? Being your own witness to yourself. So even just like going back over those past memories, even if they're painful, and injecting yourself as yourself now into that situation. What would you do? What would you advise your past self to do in that situation? When you go back to it with, you know, the eyes of someone where time has passed and you've grown up a bit. And I'm not saying you were immature or anything like that in the past, but every day that we're alive, we're learning lessons, right? We're adapting, we're growing, we're, you know, working on that toolbox of skills that help us to cope through life. So with the set of eyes, with those new lenses, witnessing yourself in that situation of the past, if that was somebody else, if that was your own child, if that was a friend, would you have spoke to them differently than you speak to yourself? Why is that? So do this, rather than seeing something through the eyes of yourself as it was happening, right? Through the moment of the event, separate yourself from it, come into witness consciousness and look at that situation from different angles and different perspectives and different lenses. You know, the lens of what would you have said if you were your own parent? What would you have said if you were your own best friend? What would you have said if you know, like, and not to anyone else involved, just to you, because we're working on your soul here, and the only person who can really do that is you. But you have to open the doors and you have to accept it. But if this is your story and this is resonating keenly for you, the universe has witnessed you, and they love you enough to give you this message that they want you to heal, they want you to have self-care and self-nurturing, that you are worthy, that you are valuable, that they see your leadership qualities, that they see the Emperor and the Empress within you, right? And they see your struggle and they see your pain, and the universe is not turning away. And the universe always, or at least the energy that I work with, right? The white light unconditional love energy is unconditional love. They love you no matter what, right? They see the value of your soul. There was something as well coming through the other day about the soul being, I was explaining it to someone, the soul being like this bright white light. Everybody, every living thing, everyone's soul is this bright white pure creation energy that I associate with this unconditional love, right? It's like the highest vibrational energy. But when we're born, when we're given situations, when we're given these teaching moments, when we're given these codes, by the codes and the toolbox that we're given by our situation that we grow up with as a child, right? It's like putting black clay around your soul. Sometimes it's rainbow clay, sometimes it's like white clay, sometimes it's you know, sparkly clay, but sometimes we get these bits of black, kind of hairy, smelly, you know, it's like it's been rolled around somewhere where you don't want to know what's on it, clay, right, stuck around that beautiful, brilliant soul core. And sometimes that clay can be shaped into something monstrous. But if we take that, sometimes people can get very hard, and some people remain flexible, some people get very hardened, and somebody could be hardened into the shape of a monster, right? Because of the environment or the situations or whatever that impacted them from a very early stage. But if we take that monster, that clay monster, and if we take it and we smash it, right? Not that I'm saying we should injure anyone, but if we break ourselves back down, if we tear it all away, if we chip into it, you know, so chip away, we can reshape that, or we can get back down to that pure soul and work with the core material, because the core material is always pure. You know, just sometimes we go through shit and it sticks to us, is that's what I think. Again, like, if you think something different, that's absolutely fine, but it's my reading. I'm going to say what I think, so there. You know, you don't have to watch it. The sands of time. The sun has begun to set low on the western horizon, but it's still visible through the window of a beautiful castle room. A man is focused with concern on a large hourglass. Interesting. Let's think about the hourglass. Maybe somebody's got an hourglass figure. A large hourglass that has almost run out. He rolls up his sleeves, ready to get back to work. This card shows that, in some matter of importance, time is of the essence. There could be an opportunity that you don't want to miss. It may be a project, situation, or personal connection that requires action or even completion. You may have some delays, or you may have been highly active and industrious for some time. Either way, keep going. Your focus and effort are still required in order to get to the end game. Don't let worry steer you away from your goal. There is more yet to do, so don't give up. Close your eyes and catch the energy of time. It almost feels as if you can ride it as it flows through your day, lifting your excitement, your enthusiasm, and your industry. Feel this now and realize that whatever you have to do, time is your gift and your tool. So don't worry about time running out. You've got the time. The universe will give you the time you need to do what needs to be done. Okay, so, and you are being told that there's this yin cycle of self-care, going inwards, doing the processing. So do the processing now, because I feel like you may get some kind of opportunity that's very quick. So you want to make sure that you've had enough sleep, right? You've been eating well. You look your best from within. So I know, like, when I don't have enough sleep, or if I'm drinking a bit more alcohol than usual, it shows in my skin. My skin gets dry and kind of crusty. But when I'm exercising and I'm getting good sleep and I'm eating lots of fruit, you know, you do get that glow from within. So yeah, if you want to look your best, look after yourself, right? Songs. So the main message of this reading, the most important thing that you would like whoever this message is for to know, so the realization moment, the light bulb moment, what is it? Take Me Back to Your House by Basement Jacks. Everybody's all drunk, everybody's had enough, it's getting ugly, I'm so tired, so tired, so tired, so take me home. It's getting late for me, I'll come if you wait for me, now let's get out of this place. I just want to run away. I've had it here. I've got to get out of here. I just want to run away. Grab your coat. Just take me back to your house. I mean, careful whose house you're going back to, because there's a little bit of that hunter energy. So, I don't know. Just be careful. Tell someone where you're going, perhaps. Okay, your advice. Whoever this reading is for, what is the advice? What is the advice? Why Does It Always Rain on Me by Travis. I can't sleep tonight. Everybody's saying everything is all right. Still, I can't close my eyes. I told you, you need to get some sleep. Drink some sleepy tea. It's what I do. Sleepy tea and magnesium. It's the future. Still, I can't close my eyes. I'm seeing a tunnel at the end of all these lights. Sunny days, where have you gone? I get the strangest feeling you belong. Why does it always rain on me? Is it because I lied when I was 17? What is it? What is it that you did, right? Why does it always rain on me? And again, it's this idea of being cursed, right? Why does it always rain on me? Is it because I lied when I was 17? No, but perhaps I want to say when we have the guilt, when we have the guilt about something we did when we were younger, when I lied when I was 17, right? We carry it around with us. And no, the universe does not curse us, but if we believe we're cursed, if we believe it because we haven't processed it, if we haven't witnessed ourselves and dealt with the guilt, or even perhaps confessed, I don't know, maybe some of you need to just go to confession. It's like when we trap that, when we're trapped by our own guilt over something we did in the past, when we haven't released ourselves from it, we can effectively keep ourselves in a curse of our own making, because it's going to impact how you carry yourself in the world. You know, it could even be a sense of paranoia because you are not tapping into that part of yourself that really needs to be spoken about. So I don't know, maybe that's helpful for somebody. Why does it always rain on me? It rains on everybody equally, I want to feel. So, I mean, it depends, right? Why does it rain on me? Perhaps you live in Manchester. It's just, it rains a lot here, guys, right? But that's why we have beautiful green trees and like lots and lots of fields and green spaces and lots of plants. And yeah, and life is what we make it, and rain is essential to some things. Maybe it's just trying to make you grow. Maybe it rains on you because it's trying to make you grow. I don't know. Right, I don't know. Take care, and check out that video that I'll link in the description box down below with all your songs, and hopefully something will be in there that will just help you really connect to that bright light in the center of your soul, and remember that you are made of stardust and sunbeams and brightness, and you deserve everything that you deserve, anything equally as anyone else deserves things, right? It's not some kind of universal popularity contest. You just have to do that inner work, and that's going to unlock those doors for you. All right, I hope that was helpful. Do take care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye, friends.